it's heartbreaking we lose this humanitarian. And I've said it before, and I do think it was a matter of time for some kind of accident like this happened, whether it was a pedestrian, whether it was a celebrity, whether it was a member of the paparazzi, because a dangerous situation is created.
The only difference between being famous and not more people is that more people know your name. Every single person, Princess Di proved this. She was the living Cinderella, the living symbol of Cinderella she was. Living in the castle with all the shoes, the glass slippers, the whole thing. And she proved to us that even Cinderella has pain. Even Cinderella has difficulties.
Good evening. The princess who spent her life in the relentless glare of the public eye died in a speeding car in Paris.
The biggest tragedy. And, you know, I feel so bad. I've been like the rest of the world. I've been watching TV and following this, and I feel so sad for the two kids. It feels like they don't know where to go. And anyway, I feel like everybody else, it's a shock.
You have called Prince Charles and the boys and said, I'll be there for you 24 hours a day if you need me.
Well, I just couldn't imagine what it would be like to be a child losing a mother. You know, that's a big deal. And I thought, I'm good at tragedies and
certainly
things.
You've been there in your life.
And I thought I could help. Maybe it was more for them than it was for me. But I you know, just one of those people that feels I need to at least try to help.
First, I want to pay tribute to Diana myself. She was an exceptional and gifted human being. In good times and bad, she never lost her capacity to smile and laugh, nor to inspire others with her warmth and kindness.
The world's an ugly place a lot of the time, but I think it's brought a lot of people together. It's brought my country, England, together in a great catharsis of mourning and pain.
I'm sure people are still in disbelief, you know. It's going to take a long time. My mother said everything just stopped. Just stopped. Nothing, no cars, no anything on the streets, nothing.
Now there is confirmation that Diana, Princess of Wales, has died. She died at 4 a.m. after going into cardiac arrest.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe she was dead. I still can't really. And part of it was that we were so unprepared, because first we heard that Dodi Fayed had died, but that she had injuries, and then suddenly, she was dead.
And that her partner, Dodi Fayed, has also been killed. They were apparently being pursued by paparazzi on 2 motorcycles.
I think it affects people on so many different levels, that we're both reporting it as news, we're experiencing it sort of as a world culture. And then people have very personal reactions to it as well. So I think it's operating in so many dimensions.
What was your first reaction when you heard about Princess Diana's death?
Oh, God, total disbelief, horror. And I know what it's like to be chased in a car by the paparazzi. And it's one of the most frightening, claustrophobic-making feelings in the world, because you have no place to go.
I mean, they offered $1 million for poor Princess Diana's personal life. Now, there have been, you know, war criminals that have performed atrocities and serial murderers that have never had the bounty that this sweet woman that was only committed to doing good for humanity, she was stalked and hunted like an animal.
I admired and respected her for her energy and commitment to others, and especially for her devotion to her 2 boys.
She asked me once, what's it like for you with the press? And I said, what's it like for you? She said, how do you deal with it? I was like, how do you deal with it? Because I mean, nothing compared to what she went through.
And I guess what makes me feel the saddest about her is that this was the first relationship since her marriage that she could talk about publicly. And just as she was beginning to enjoy herself, just as it was beginning to be a little bit of that fairy tale, she died.
I think that's what grieves people, is that she found some chance of happiness in the last year or so. It's all very sad.
And no matter how successful or famous or rich people think that celebrities are, it's painful. It's a breakdown of the human spirit to feel constantly hunted and stalked, to not feel like you have any privacy at all, and to feel like they're always going for the jugular. They're always trying to expose you at your worst. And frankly, I don't think it's worth it.
This week at Balmoral, we have all been trying to help William and Harry, come to terms with the devastating loss that they and the rest of us have suffered.
Princess Diana loved America, and Americans loved her. Look, first of all, she was beautiful. Secondly, she was challenging and courageous and erotic, perhaps, and unpredictable. And she could revolt, she could answer back the royal family, and at the same time, she was so kind to people whom she could help. We don't see that in royalty, and that was the most extraordinary quality about her.
There are so many implications. The royal family has a lot to take a look at. What will happen to William and Harry? What will happen to the many, many charities? They say that there was no one who could raise the kind of money like Princess Diana could for charities.
What's your fondest memory of her?
Probably the look she had on her face when I asked her to dance. She blushed, and I liked that. I thought it was very down to earth and very real. And that's probably my fondest memory. I mean, I enjoyed the dancing too, but sure. It was more of a human moment that someone as elevated as she had become could actually be, you know, blush right. to have a dance with me.
My first meeting with her was at a charity event, and I was introduced to her, and she was so, what's the word, forthcoming and human and warm, and broke through all that protocol. She was a very generous-spirited woman, and I met her again, and she gave me a beautiful smile. She's gorgeous, she's a beautiful woman. It's a great loss. It's a strange, I think she's had a tremendous influence on people throughout the world, like Mother Teresa. It's very odd that those two people, Mother Teresa and Diana, both within 1 week. It's really strange. It's almost something symbolic. I mean, people are probably going to read things into this to comfort themselves, but it's a tragic accident and it's a great loss to the world.
How will you remember her most?
As a very caring, loving person for her children, people she didn't know, wanting to bring attention to charities and get people's help as much as possible.
It's very hard not to remember a word here, a glance there, a sort of secret gesture. She was very personal, and she was always doing something that was just for you. Didn't matter how many people were gathered around. She was always able to come up and say something that was just for you, usually funny, often breathtakingly revealing. She had no trouble at all talking about herself and her personal life. It's as if a light went out, and we all know that it's just, there's a little less light in the world.
I think that the suddenness of it and the fact that she is so young will make her, for generations to come, a mythical figure.